Hi, welcome to Wednesday. Made it for another week. I'm going to start with some advertising first because I'll forget at the end. First thing I want to tell you is that maybe some of you know this past Monday was a super moon and the pink moon. And so that has, because the moons have an effect on earthbound spirits anyway, it was crazy. But the really unfortunate thing is the next full moon is May 26th. It's also a super moon, and there's also a lunar eclipse. So, anybody that has earthbound spirits in your house this week or this month, you are certainly going to know it. They're going to be crazy nuts, making noise, moving things, breaking things. So, just be aware of that. For those of you that are in the area, I will be at Antlers Haunted Hotel this Saturday, May 1st, and you can still sign up for it. I'll do a little talk, and then we will go through and find ghosts. So if you want to sign up, come on out. Nobody under 18. And the next Zoom is on May 17th at 7:30 at Eastern Standard Time. On May 26th, I will be on Coast to Coast for those of you that are Coasty fans, and that happens to be the full moon with the lunar eclipse, so that should be a very interesting show. And the last thing is, and who knew, May 3rd is National Paranormal Day. Didn't even know that existed. So I just did a interview with Channel 3, did a house on Zoom, and they're going to air that on the 5 o'clock news on Channel 3 on May 3rd, Monday. I'm going to do two letters today that I got, and it's interesting. I talked about it this morning on the live show. At 10, when I do somebody's house and I walk out, I leave it. I don't remember that stuff. I'd make myself crazy if I try to remember it. And so these people that are sending me letters about work that I've done in their house, I'm reading these going, oh yeah, I remember that one, but it's jogging my memory. So this one is from a man, and I'll get to his name at the end. He writes, when Ghost Whisperer was still on TV, you gave a presentation at my son's college in Pennsylvania. My wife always watched the show, and I got interested in it. It was the year you gave out T-shirts to the students. You had a slideshow with it. As a side note, Ghost Whisperer sent me on these tours of colleges and gave me a whole bunch of Ghost Whisperer T-shirts to hand out to the students. And we did do a slide show. It was really good. You gave everyone a lot of information and answered a ton of questions. At the time, I owned a real estate company. Sales were okay, but I had some really nice properties that I couldn't understand they weren't selling. In your lecture, you said if a house is priced right and it's on the market for a while, or if people at open houses are walking in the front door and running out the back door, that there may be a ghost in there. I gave some thought to this, and probably a good 2 or 3 months, and I finally called you. I guess I was afraid people were just going to laugh at me, so I didn't tell anybody, not even my wife. We made a phone appointment, and I went to the 3 houses in approximately 2 hours and called you from each house. 2 houses had a ghost, and the last house had negative energy, really bad negative energy. I mean, I think it was a curse, but I think you call it negative energy. You came out with your husband on a Wednesday in December. Um, in March. I read this wrong. When you came out with your husband on a Wednesday in March, you said the only thing that would stop you from coming was the weather. I was lucky. It was a cold day, but sunny. No snow. We went to all the houses and got rid of the ghosts and took the negative energy off the last house. Within 2.5 weeks, all three properties sold. And this was in March when most people wait till summer to sell houses. I was amazed at how easily they sold after the clearings. I know some of my competition in real estate. Uh, I know some of my competitors in real estate. We all do talk, even though we are all trying to sell our properties. They wanted to know what the secret was. I just laughed when I think about it now. There was no way that I told them exactly what I did. And this was Timothy from Pennsylvania. I do remember going out and we were lucky the weather was with us because I'm not going to go traipsing through, bad weather to get someplace. And for those of you that know, this could be a reason for houses not selling. And I have to say, though, with all the stuff that's been going on with the pandemic for the last year, I don't even think most houses make it into the paper before they're already sold. I mean, this has to be a realtor's dream. But back then, it took a while, and there is the St. Joseph that can be buried in the ground too, which I actually sold 2 houses because of the St. Joseph kit, just as a side note. Okay, this one came in and she says, Mary Ann, you helped us so much about 12 years ago. When our son was 14, he started hanging out with the wrong kids and started using alcohol and drugs. We got him in a 6-week program, and when he got out, he was okay for about a month. Then right back to his old habits. We got him in a 3-month program. Again, he was great for about 4 or 5 weeks. Then right back to his old habits. Then he ended up in juvenile detention for 6 weeks. And while he was there, my 13-year-old daughter, straight A's, perfect in school, cheerleader, sports, just spiraled out of control. She wouldn't go to school. She ran away a couple of times overnight. We didn't even know where she was. The one time she was gone for almost 3 days. We didn't even recognize her, the way she was dressing and the way she was with makeup. It was a child we didn't even know. She was not doing drugs or drinking, though, and I was surprised at that, to be honest with you. She was just so disrespectful, was failing at school, only went to school when she felt like it, and the school didn't even bother to call us to tell us she wasn't there. Then I heard you on some radio show talking about earthbound spirits that can attach to people. I called you and you told me there was a teen boy ghost, 15 or 16 years old, that was right in my daughter's space, influencing her. I said, no, my son is still in jail for drugs, and you said, no, this is an earthbound spirit, not a live teen boy. We had you come over. You said my daughter had to be home. The teen ghost's name was Jax. He came home with my son from the first rehab we sent him to. Jax always went with my son to rehab, but he didn't like the jail, and he realized my daughter was almost his age when he died from an overdose. He mouthed off to you and said he could influence her so easily, and he was loving it. My daughter just sat there glaring at you. Then she said, I don't believe you. Nobody is going to tell me what to do, not a so called ghost. So you pretty much told her exactly what she had been doing for the last 3 days. Stole makeup from the drugstore, named two of her friends that were with her, and the three girls were going to try to steal either a pickup truck or a car and drive to New York City. And they found one that was open, but they no keys, but between the three of them, they couldn't figure out how to start it. So that never went anywhere, which is probably a really good thing. My daughter just sat there with her mouth wide open. She said, how do you know this? You told her Jax told you. That's how much control he has over you. And Jax was the problem with my son. He couldn't stay off the drugs or alcohol because of Jax. Every time Jax came back from one of the rehabs, he would just influence him again to start up his bad habits. We were so embarrassed. We had no idea that our daughter was doing so many things that were so against the law. You got Jax to cross over, and our daughter had to repeat her grade. That's how much school she had missed that year. After 2 months, 3 months, she was finally back to her old self. She got new friends and got rid of the ones that she shouldn't have been hanging out with. When my son got out of jail, we called you to make sure there was no one new attached to him. There was, but because the house was protected and our son started wearing a quinseed, the ghost never actually attached to him, which the quinseed was doing its job. He wasn't bothered anymore. Both the kids graduated from college and have great jobs. My son is married with a baby now. Our daughter is engaged. If it wasn't for you, I think both of our kids would be in jail now or dead. Thank you. Thank you is not even close to what we feel for you helping us. By the way, we found Jax's grave, and how he had died was exactly what he told you. I've said it many times. Anybody that's in any kind of rehab for any kind of addiction, those places are full of earthbound spirits. And they will come home with you, and they will try to influence you to go back to your bad habits. So it's a vicious circle. You go through it and you think you got it. And I really think when these people get out of this rehab that they are truly being honest. They're not going to do it again. They promise they're not going to do it again. They don't want to feel like that again. But if you've got an earthbound spirit in the house influencing you, that's exactly what's going to happen. I believe that people that are in institutions for mental problems, I believe that probably half of them don't have to be in there, that they've got somebody attached to them too. But that's going to go nowhere, I'm sure. So this is done for today, and we'll do it again next Wednesday. Everybody have a great week, and the weather's finally getting nice. Let's enjoy it. Bye-bye.